There are some places that feel wrong the moment you step near them. Places where the air hangs too still, and even the trees seem to listen. I never believed in that kind of talk until I came to Pine Hollow, a quiet town tucked deep in the Maine woods. My job was simple: seasonal park ranger, night patrol, easy money. But from my first evening there, I noticed something about those woods. They weren't just quiet, they were expecting. Every sound, a creak, a crack, a sigh, felt like it was waiting for me to answer back. Locals called that stretch the Whistling Woods. They said the name came from the wind cutting through the pines. But when you actually stood there, the air didn't move at all. No rustling, no breeze. Just silence, so heavy it pressed against your ears. On my third night, driving back from a boundary check, I saw a flicker of light between the trees. Soft, steady, almost like a lantern swaying. I slowed down, rolled the window halfway, and that's when I heard it. A faint whistle. Slow, offbeat, familiar in the way a nightmare sometimes feels. I pulled over, stepped out, and stood by the truck door. The forest was pitch black, except for that dim, pulsing glow maybe 50 feet in. I called out, "Hey, you need help?" No answer. The whistle came again, closer now, clearer, a tune I couldn't place, something old and slow, like a children's lullaby, slightly out of tune. Then the light went out, dead silence. I waited another minute before climbing back in and driving off. But the sound didn't leave my head. I kept hearing it in the engine hum, in the wind, in my own breath. The next morning, I mentioned it to Jake, another ranger who'd worked here for years. He didn't laugh, didn't even look surprised. "You heard them," he said, like it was a fact. I thought he was joking until he told me about the kids. 2 high schoolers went camping out there about 20 years ago. Never came back. Search teams found their tent torn open and one shoe tangled high in a pine tree, but no footprints leading out. Locals say the woods don't take everyone, Jake said quietly. Just the ones who stop to listen. I brushed it off. I'm not the type to buy ghost stories. But the next night, the forest called again. Around midnight, I heard it right outside my cabin, that same whistle, floating soft and thin through the cold air. I turned off my lights, grabbed my flashlight, and opened the door. The sound stopped instantly. I scanned the tree line. Nothing. Just black trunks and frost clinging to the ground. Then as I stepped off the porch, I noticed footprints, bare, small, leading away toward the trail, and for some reason I followed them. The deeper I went, the colder it got. My breath came out in pale clouds, even though it wasn't freezing. The footprints continued until they vanished abruptly, not covered, not faded, just gone. The whistle began again, this time behind me. I swung the light around, and for a split second, I saw someone standing between the trees, thin, still, facing me. But when the beam hit the figure, it flickered like mist and disappeared. My flashlight dimmed, then died completely. In the dark, the whistle circled me. Left, right, left, closer each time. I bolted back toward the cabin, tripping over roots and stones. The whistling didn't follow, but something else did, a sound like dry leaves brushing against wood. When I reached the door, I slammed it shut and sat there until sunrise. The next day, Jake came by, pale as paper. "You shouldn't have followed it," he said. "Once you do, it knows your name." I asked what that meant, but he just looked out the window toward the woods. "You'll see," he muttered. or maybe you won't. That was the last time I saw him alive. A week later, search teams found Jake's truck by the trailhead, driver's door wide open, engine still running. No sign of him. Just his flashlight lying in the dirt, the bulb shattered. Since then, every night, I hear that whistle again. Not from the woods anymore, but from behind my cabin. Same tune, same uneven rhythm. Sometimes, it sounds like it's coming from inside the walls. I've packed my bags a dozen times, but never make it to the door. Because every time I touch the handle, the whistling stops, and something whispers my name.